Good evening, everybody. Good evening, yarnies, dirty hookers, and fiber fiends. I'm running a little late. Um, Backstory: it's rainy, it's chilly. It's not cold, but it's chilly. Perfect weather, temperature for me, but it's been super, super rainy. I've been super, super tired. I know it's not an excuse, but I could not get motivated at all today. So I was up for a little bit, did a few things, and I'm sitting here and I was nodding off. So, um, went and lay down about 2:33. Set my alarm for 5, and I guess it went off, and I must have hit the button, and I didn't get up. And then when I did look at the clock, it was like 5:45. I was like, oh shit! So I got up real quick. Luckily, well, no, I had to restart everything, restart the computer, and then behind the scenes, I got three monitors set up here. Every square inch of all of my monitors are covered with apps and browsers and this and that because there's a lot I need to keep track of, and I don't really do it when everything's on top of each other because I won't be able to see everything. So anyway, luckily I got everything going, and then I'm like, oh crap. I already had my sample made for tonight, and I've already had a picture. It's actually not my picture, but I'm using someone else's picture. But I'm like, oh, I got extra things I got to add to it, so I had to go and get the container that had it. I already took it out of the attic, so that wasn't the thing. So that wasn't the bad thing. But I was just now going through this container, getting this extra supplies for tonight's stream. So here we are. Hopefully everybody isn't as frazzled and running behind as I was. Let me catch up on chat. Hey there, Llama. Hey, Sophie. Hey, Clay Miko. How are you doing? I feel like we haven't talked in a while. Currently taking apart my PC because it's not working. Ooh. It's not good. Did it stop working or something happen? I think when we moved, something happened to the graphics card, but I'm not sure. I hope nothing major happened to it. Hopefully it just came loose and like unseated and not something horrible, horrible. Hi, running a little late. Ain't you shiny today? Oh, my name's not running late. Actually, you know what? Not to culturally appropriate anybody, that would be that would be a good Native American name for me. Um, I hope it's an easy fix. Sue is having a good time with zombie pigmen in the nether screaming in my ears. Well, I'm glad she's having a good time, but I'm sorry that she's screaming in your ears. And I never really liked zombie pigmen. I know they changed it now. They're not what they used to be. It's like somewhat different. But anyway, that's a Minecraft reference for those who don't know. Alrighty, maybe I should be running late more often because I'm like jibber jabber tonight. Alrighty, let's take a look over here. Hey there, Sue. Let's see. Alrighty. So I think we're going to get right into it tonight. Tonight is going to be a relatively easy project. It's just time consuming. Stop telling them that I can't stay alive for the life of me. No, all Llama said was you were having a good time with zombie pigmen. They weren't saying anything at all about you can't stay alive. Minecraft is scary. It can be, depending on how you play it. I play it on not easy mode. I play it on survival, but I guess it's easy mode where like there's no mobs that can like hurt me. So there is that. So I kind of like play it safe, but I'm not a video game person. I'm more of like a puzzle game or a chill or relax type game, and I can't see out of my eyeballs. It's not my glasses, it's my eyeballs. I'm a chill game. Like occasionally I've played a game on here during the day. On stream, I've played like Dwarf Romantic or Townscape, or very peaceful, relaxing things. But that's great if people can play the ones where they battle and they do this and that, and just not. I've never been good at that. When I was a kid on the original Nintendo, on Super Mario with with like, you know how like with the holes and they'd jump, and then, or the ones where they'd have the moving platforms that would go up and you had to jump. I always sucked at those. My nephew dies every 2 minutes in Minecraft. Yeah. Again, that's why I put the settings on a little bit easier, a little bit of a handicap. But that's the good thing about that game, that you can kind of play it however you want to play it. There's no right or wrong way to play that game. I don't even have my drink, so I guess when we go to ad, I'll have to go and get a drink. That's how late and non-prepared I am today. I stare at the sky and spin in circles like a ballerina. Hey, that's fine too. That, or I play on creative and I just build. Alrighty, I think we're going to get into our pumpkins. So, like the thing says below me, we're doing a stacked pumpkin. It's actually a centerpiece. You can use it as a centerpiece. It is from a YouTube channel called The Winding Road Crochet. There's also a blog. So if you go to their YouTube channel, in the description of their channel, there's a link to the written pattern. So I kind of like that. And they have pictures in their written pattern. So if you're not good at following on stream, either me or their channel or whoever's channel, you have that option of following along. It's actually pretty simple. This is not that much of an involved project. The construction, putting it together, cinching it up might be a little involved, but it's really not that involved. No Fairy makes fun of me for my ability to play video games. This is Tetris. For playing Tetris, he gives up. Tetris. I didn't know you were good at Tetris. As long as I've known you, yeah. That was one of the few games, and again, this is going back, on the NES that I could play. Yeah, I'm really good at Tetris. Alrighty, so we are going to be doing the stacked, and the picture is right above me. Has anyone here made a mandala cardigan? No, I haven't. I've never made any cardigans, which I'm still looking for a decent men's cardigan crocheted pattern that does not look like Grandpa smoking a pipe in a rowboat in New England. Those are fine. There's nothing wrong with those sweaters, but that's not me. I don't want that. I want something a little more, not necessarily modern, but something a little more interesting, I guess. I mean, I don't know what the type of sweater is, but they got like the wide collars and the pockets and like the elbow patch. Yeah, I don't want all that. No, I don't want Old Man in the Sea sailor type sweater. I'm all over the place tonight. Alrighty, so we're going to make, and it's easier to show for their picture. This is their picture. That picture is from Winding Road Crochet. We're going to be making something that's going to somewhat resemble that. I've already got my large and middle-sized pumpkin made. What I'm going to be showing tonight is the small one, and the instructions are the exact same for these. The only difference is the size, how many stitches, how many rows you do. This obviously has the most, and then what we're going to do today is going to be the least, but it's the exact same construction, it's just smaller scale. I bought a pattern today because I've been looking for one for a while. I'm going to attempt one for my next project. And you'll have to let us know, and I know you will let us know how. Keep us updated on your progress on that. Yeah. I enjoy. Llama says I enjoy Pokemon, Genshin, Minecraft, Stardew Valley, and many others. Chill and action games. I have Stardew Valley. I've played that on and off. I haven't played it in a long time. Hey there, Fairy Dust. How are you? So, I'm going to put my 2 pumpkins to the side, and I will explain the instructions on how to do the stitch count and row count for these when I do the small one. So I'm going to kind of do the same color palette that they've done. You don't have to do the same color palette. It just happened to work out, even though my middle one is like more of a tan and not a white. But it's your world. Your pumpkins can come on whatever color you want. I'm using a butter yellow color. Actually, it's butter yellow on the camera. In person, it's more of like yellow, like a primary school yellow. The camera picks it up different. Theirs is more of a gold. Fairy Dust says, I haven't made adult clothes yet, but I have yarn coming in to make myself a cardigan. Yay! Fairy Dust, do you happen to have a pattern already picked out? And hey, Gold Misfit, how are you? It's been a while since I've seen you. Well, I did chat with you briefly the other day in Frog and Turtle Gaming's stream. Okay, I'm going to get out a lot of slack on my yarn. Alrighty. I'm excited to see your progress. Yeah, we all are excited. Making any wearables my size will get pricey. I'll stay on accessories. Well, you said that most of the yarn that you have there in Finland is cotton or wool. And yeah, with the wool, can be pricey. Alrighty. So I'm going to give some stitch counts and row counts. So for the large pumpkin, when you start, you're going to make a rectangle for all of these. Each one start with a rectangle. Large pumpkin, you're going to chain 41. And when we do this, we're going to do half double crochet in the second chain from the hook and half double crochets in the rest of them. So eventually you're going to be doing half double crochet. You're going to have 40 stitches across. So you're going to have your rectangles to be 40 stitches by 54 rows. Okay? So that's for the large one. For the medium one, you're going to chain 31. You're going to dig your half double into your teeth. So you're going to chain 31, but you're actually going to have 30 stitches by 42 rows. And then what we're going to do tonight, we're going to chain 21. We're going to have 20 stitches by 30 rows. So it's going to take a little while to make it, but they work up kind of quick. And they're all back loop only half double crochet. So when we get into this right now, I will show you. Is anyone going to be crocheting along with me? This is not a complex, complicated pattern. Super, super simple. Oh yes, we do have a command. The command is, let me just see if I can find it. ! Centerpiece. And it popped up earlier in the chat, but oh, I gotta take the pumpkin patch stitch off. Wait a minute. Why did the pumpkin patch... Okay, that needs to be deleted. Because came up in there was yesterday's... Oh, you typed in exclamation point pumpkin. I'm surprised I still had that in here. Give me 1 second. I mean, I can leave that in here. Usually I take them out after each stream or before the stream take the previous one out since we're not using it. But yes, the exclamation point pumpkin is the pumpkin patch stitch we did yesterday. An exclamation point centerpiece is tonight's. New washing machine arrived today. Yay! Hopefully, you don't have any other issues with any other appliances. Alrighty. So, we're going to put a slip knot on our hook, and we're going to chain 21. This is for the small pumpkin. Again, for the large pumpkin, you're going to chain 41. For the middle size one, you chain 31. So, find out tomorrow when I wash our pillows and blankets. Yay! So for the small one, we're going to chain 21. And I don't have all of my light going. No more beating your clothes against the rocks in a brook. Got off work at 10 p.m. So no testing for me today. Gotcha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Alrighty. So that is the chain count for the small pumpkin. Again, the large one is 41, the middle is 31, the small is 21. And what we're going to do is in the second chain from the hook, we're going to do a half double crochet. And in the remaining chains, you're going to do half double crochets. This is a good beginner project for anybody getting into amigurumis like myself. That's one of the reasons I chose this one. Because you're not increasing or decreasing on any of this. Now, what I will do is, what I would recommend with this, and I have to get them out, I would recommend stitch markers to count your rows. Not necessarily count your stitches, but to count your rows. And if you're a row short or a row extra, it's not going to affect it. It's just going to make it a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. It's not going to be that much of an issue. Okay, so that's row number 1. Let me just double check my stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. So that is our first row. So now we're going to chain up 1. We're going to chain 1 and turn. And we're going to do half double crochets, back loop only. It's good practice for doing ribbon on a brim of a hat or clothing. Yes, you're basically doing ribbing here because the rest of the pattern, like I said, you're doing back loop only, half double crochets, and that's what you're going to do the entire piece for 30 rows for the small pumpkin. And if you're doing the large pumpkin, you're going to do the same thing, but for 54 rows, and the medium one is 42 rows. Again, all of the instructions are in that link in their channel, and then also on their channel is a link to, actually, this is what we're going to do. I should have posted it in the, actually, I'll do that right now. I could do this on the fly, maybe. Enter this. Put that there. And edit this. Alrighty, let's do it this way now. That kind of ran together, but sorry about that, everybody. We're going to edit it again. You think I'd be good at doing this streaming computer stuff. Let's fix the thing in the thing. There, that's a little bit better. So the first link is the link to their video. The second is to their blog. So if you want the written pattern. Okay. So we're doing back loop only, half double crochets. And half double crochets work up somewhat quick because you're not doing all these extra stitches and maneuvers. And it is one of my favorite, I think it probably is my favorite of the basic foundation stitches that all of their stitches are based off of. When I work a hat pattern, I almost always ignore the brim part of the pattern and do ribbing because I like a ribbed brim. Okay. Anybody else here stream? If you are a streamer, I think this is a common thing for streamers because I've watched it on many other channels lately, especially. It's as soon as you hit start streaming, you forget how to form words. Yeah, ribbed brim. I cannot talk in general. I haven't streamed in 3 years. Okay, well, maybe. I'm not saying it's the only reason that people can't talk, obviously, but I think it might be a side effect of hitting that start streaming button. Okay, so that's row number 2. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to chain 1 and turn. I'm going to count my rows with stitch markers. And the way I'll show how I do it. Hoping to be on later. Tyler needs me. Okay. I just forgot how to do a lot of things because I'm not 20 anymore. I hear that. So on my second row, that's my first and that's my second. My second row, after I do my second row, in that edge stitch, I'm going to put in a stitch marker and I'm going to count every second row. So basically, I need 30 rows. So when I get 15 stitch markers, I'll know that that's as far as I need to go. So I'm not sitting there counting or trying to figure it out, trying to remember. I just put that stitch marker. Again, we're not marking any stitches. We're not going to go back and do anything with them. It's just a way of counting. So that's pretty much what we're going to do tonight for for the beginning part of the stream is we're just going to sit here and chit chat and do half double crochet, back loop only half double crochets. I think that's the proper way of referring to the stitch. So when we get this done, and I'm going to show you real quick here. Nowhere near being done, obviously. But when we form it into a pumpkin, this will be the top or bottom, or top or bottom of the pumpkin. So that's how this was formed. These ridge stitches, the rows when I was making them were going like this, and then when we're going to cinch them together and stuff it, and then the rows will be vertical. And since it's all the same stitch, and you're not increasing, you're not decreasing, you're not doing the hokey pokey, it can go somewhat quick. I have a rib beanie that is almost finished. It is all half double crochet ribbing, and I lack 10 rows having it finished. That might not be a good thing if you are down. If you have 10 rows too few. We are working towards the next big goal in your Minecraft skyblock. Our trading hall is built. We have 2 zombie villagers. Sue is working on getting us golden apples. Nice, making a lot of progress over there. Oh, I have decided that tomorrow night you're getting a stream, because I didn't stream Sunday. And tomorrow night's stream is going to be a longer stream, because tomorrow we're going to continue with the 3-dimensional pumpkins. We're going to be doing this braided pumpkin. This is going to take a lot more time. This is a lot more involved because you're counting stitches and you're doing different things on different rounds. You're stitching this in the round. So it's not like this where you make a flat piece and then form the round. You're stitching this in the round as you go, and each round you turn. Yes, you're turning it inside it, back and forth. So that will be tomorrow. So that will be an extended stream because it's going to take a while to get this. This is the small version of this. They have a larger version. We're only doing the small. Off stream, I might do a large version, and that one, the braided one, is from, is it yarnspirations.com? I know Mike from the Crochet Crowd showed how to do it. That's where I got it from. So I don't know if it's one of his patterns or a Yarnspirations one. I'm not really certain. But that's for tomorrow. And a friend rebuilt our monster farm. We should take some pictures of our progress. Not gonna lie, nice looking pumpkin. Might have to try one myself. What, this one here or the braided one? The braided one I love. I love the texture on it. And the larger one, I've only seen the pictures. The larger one have got there's more space in between the braids. Definitely saw some post stitches on that pumpkin. Yes, this is my first time ever doing cabling on a crocheted item. So yeah, there are some front post triple crochets, but then also cabling. So cabling, it's like in sets of 3, and Fairy Dust probably knows this. In this case, there's sets of 3 when you're doing the cabling part. And when you do the cable stitch, the first one, you skip the first stitch and you go to the middle one, and then the middle one goes to the end one, and then the end one, you kind of go back to your first one, and that's what forms this cable. And yeah, they're front post. So, very, very textured. Very textured. Love it. That will be tomorrow night. Or whatever time zone you happen to be in. Okay. I just finished my 4th row. So I'm just going to put a stitch marker in just so I can keep track. So I just mark, like I said, every second row I will put in a marker. I gotta get some slack on this yarn. So what is everybody working on? I know Llama and Sue are doing the Minecraft thing. I feel a sneeze coming on. Oh my goodness. Sorry, everybody. Familiar with cables, always nice to pay attention to which cables are worked in front and other cables and which ones are worked behind. Frogged a lot, not by paying attention. Yep. Now this pattern, you're only, when you're cabling, it's all front post triples for the cable rows. Not all rows are cabled, but when you do that cable formation, they're all front post triples, so there are no ones you work from behind. I mean, there are ones that are behind the front one, but the actual stitch. But yeah, you got to keep track of, okay, this one now has to start in the right position, but ending in one position to the left. So everything's kind of slanted to get it in the orientation it needs to be. I'm gonna, when I do that, I'm gonna make it in a color yarn that hopefully everyone will be able to see. I still have to figure out which color I'm going to do that one with. Like I said, that was my first time I've ever done cabling, and I love it. Okay. So I just finished my 6th row. See, this kind of goes kind of quick. I mean, yes, I am doing the smaller pumpkin, but even the larger one, the crocheting part is not the... I mean, none of this is really difficult, but the crocheting part is pretty simple. Earlier today I was working on some of the Project Linus blanket. I had to frog out a bunch of rows because I was wasn't out of yarn, but I knew that I was gonna end up with not enough yarn at the very end. So I've already started the second portion of it where you do something slightly different than the main part of the blanket. And that was the summer lace one, the one that was working on the other day on stream. Genshin servers are currently down for maintenance. Big update waiting when I wake up. Gotcha. Again, I know nothing about that game. Apart from that link you sent in the Discord with the music. I know nothing. In probably November or December, I'm going to have a poll. Actually, I might even do it. Might end up doing it earlier than that. I'll probably put it in the Discord. I've got a couple cross stitch kits that I've had for years, and I'll put some pictures of them, and we'll have a poll to ask everybody which one they would like to see me work on. But that won't be until the beginning of the year, because I already have pretty much everything planned for the most part throughout the rest of the year. I think the only thing I don't have planned is that week between Christmas and New Year's. I'm debating whether or not to stream at all. I probably will. Got something in my mouth. I didn't put the stitch marker in there. Just a long-term heads up to get everybody notified, I guess. Okay, I gotta move that. Okay, that's fine. There will be no stream. I'm not certain about streaming on Halloween. I'm still on the fence about that. This year it is a Tuesday, and Tuesdays is one of my normal stream nights. I'm on the fence about that. There will be no stream on November 16th. That is a Thursday. Granny Karen will be out of the house. So there'll be no stream on that Thursday, and there'll be no stream on the following Thursday, which happens to be Thanksgiving here in the U.S. I figure we don't always celebrate Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day because of family members' work schedules and everything. But everyone else in the U.S. most likely will have Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day. So there'll be no stream on Thanksgiving Day. There will also be no stream, obviously, Christmas Day. It's a Monday this year. And I don't usually stream on Mondays. Even though December I will be streaming a lot. You're getting a lot of streams in December from me. That's the plan. But I will not stream on Sunday the 24th, December 24th, Christmas Eve. There will be no stream. I think we will take a little break from that for certain holidays. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've already gotten 10 rows. I'm already a third of the way done of this. I still need, the next few days, I need to work on some samples for October. I have none of my samples done. So I'm like, oh, I'm freaking out. But we are going to have a lot of spooky and cute Halloween motifs, patterns, or whatever in October. Let me minimize my calendar over here so it's out of my way. the new year, we're going to incorporate other crafts or arts. We're going to do some cross stitch, some embroidery. There was something else I was going to do. We're going to, not necessarily on stream, but the new year we're going to try to learn how to tat. And I'm also thinking about on stream trying to practice and work up some knitting. It's been forever since I've knitted. So that's going to be an interesting stream, watching me struggle with knitting. I got all kinds of knitting needles. They just sit there and use them as pointers. I don't really use them to knit. Okay. I just got to get a whole bunch of my slack free on this yarn. I think that's good for right now. When I first saw this pattern for these pumpkins, I was like, wait a minute, you start with a rectangle, and then as I was watching the video, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. The yarn I happen to be using is Craft Smart Acrylic. I know you can get it at Michael's. I don't know if it's like an exclusive Michael's line or if it's in other retailers. And again, that's a US line. I love it. It's a lot softer than other acrylics, and I like their color range and their texture. Like, not just the softness, but like there's like a nice texture to it. And when I stitch with it, I noticed that the stitches slide a lot easier. I was using some of this last night with the pumpkin patch stitch, and it was forming the puff stitches beautifully. Didn't really have a lot of issues with those stitches. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're about halfway done, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 14. I'm on row 15. Yeah, this row here will be halfway. With what we're doing tonight, you can do all three and stack them up like they have. On the little one here, we will be adding a stem. The other ones don't have stems, so they can stack. If you don't want them to stack, you can put stems on all of them. Or if you don't want to do all three, you just want to do 2 of them, that's fine too. They do suggest, if you stack them, they give options that you can sew them together, all 3 of them together, or glue them together. I'm not doing that. I like them all separate. And once we get this formed into a pumpkin and we get the stem on, then we're going to play around with some fall leaves and artificial fall leaves and foliage and berries and some flowers and stuff, and we're going to have some fun with it. Something I haven't done on the stream is work with artificial flowers. I've done that many times in my life, but never here on stream. So this will be an introduction to all of that. So that's what I was going through right literally before I hit that go live button. Getting all their fall fake flowers. Wait a minute, did I go that fast already? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16. Okay, yeah. I guess I'm just going faster than I thought I would. And we are going to stuff these. I've got some polyester fiber stuffing stuff to go into the center of these cute pumpkins. So technically, I don't know if technically, but I would consider this an amigurumi because it's three-dimensional, even though I think technically amigurumi means cute toy in Japanese. I think that's what it means. I'm considering amigurumi, even though it's not done in traditional amigurumi stitches. I'm going to consider it. And these are cute, so they would qualify as amigurumi. And I am using a worsted weight yarn and my 5.5mm hook. You could obviously do this in whatever weight of yarn and whatever size hook that you want. Your scale would be different, but that's to be expected. See this really cute with some big chunky yarn. Like an oversized pumpkin. I'm cute. Do I qualify as amigurumi? Like I said, I think it means cute toy, so I don't know. I don't know if you're a toy. Okay, Llama said yes. You could be fun? Okay. They don't call you the lot lizard for nothing. Forgetting to put my stitch markers in. That's how fast I'm going through these rows. And I gotta count my stitch markers because I don't want to make too many rows. This is true. My reputation precedes me. Yes. 9. I gotta go to 15 stitch markers. Well, I'm not gonna put in the 15th one because that'll be the last row, so I don't need to put on a stitch marker for the very last one, but I'm also probably thinking about in the new year bringing back, and I don't know if anybody was following me when I did this previously. I have a book of I don't know how many crochet stitches, just basic stitches. Well, not basic stitches, it's just stitches. They're not making a specific thing. We're not doing a granny square. We're not making a pumpkin or what have you. And so what I used to do would just pick a stitch out of the book and teach how to do it. And not a lot, but a few of my followers were crocheting along with me when I was just doing the stitch. So I think I'm going to possibly bring that back also. Got plenty other stitches in there that I haven't done yet. I think that's the 10th stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that means 20 rows so far. We got to go to 30. Sometime I want to learn the Catherine wheel stitch, and I've never done the Catherine wheel. I've seen it so many times. Actually, the very first time I ever seen or heard of the Catherine wheel stitch was years ago, many, many, many years ago, when Mikey from the Crochet Crowd first started his channel. He was doing that, and he said it was one of his favorite stitches. I've never done it. It's in the book. It is definitely in the book. So I think that will be on the list of stitches to show. In fact, let me get the book real quick. I can show you. This is the book I have. It's called Crochet Stitch Dictionary by Sarah Hazel. There's 200 stitches. And let's see if I can find the Catherine wheel. I'm probably not going to be able to thumb right to it. And I don't want to go and look it up. I want to be a little difficult. Okay. Oh, wait. Is that it? No, interlocking shell. Starburst, petal. It's in here. Hexagon. Catherine wheel. That's the Catherine wheel stitch. So, I will, I'm going to put a bookmark right in there. And we'll try it. That will be probably the first one that we do from that book. I don't know why it's called Catherine Wheel. I don't know who Catherine was. And why she had a wheel. But what it is. Okay, we're going to have an ad here in about a minute. When we go to ad, I need to go and get something to drink because I was running late and not prepared. But I still streamed about right on time. But behind the scenes, I was not. Maybe she rolled around on a unicycle. Could be. More power to her because I couldn't do it. I can barely ride a... Well, it's been years. But I could barely ride a bicycle, much less a unicycle. Alrighty. I'll be right back after this ad break. And welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sitting through the ad break. Believe I'm irreparably traumatized after seeing that Twitch September ad. John Wayne Gacy wasn't that great. I know what ad you're talking about. I've seen that when I've been in other people's streams, and I'm like, that's just weird. With that purple thing with a little mouth and... I didn't get the right stitch there. Okay, I need to put in another stitch marker because I've already completed that row. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. I've done 24, so I'm on row 25 of 30. So this will be done in no time. And then we will get, it'll be kind of fun to do the rest of it to cinch it up into a pumpkin. Hey there, Carrots Knits. How are you? Welcome to my stream. If you're not familiar with Carrots Knits, definitely check them out. They are a knitter. They are, I think you said you're in the process right now of making sweaters for family members for the holidays.
Thanks for the raid.
Thank you for... Welcome in, Raiders. Hey there, KB Fibers. How are you? How are you doing? How was your stream? What were you doing? What were you making? I want to know all the details. Hey there, Zombie. I know Veggie Zombie from Twitter, from Tatter's channel. I always call you Dr. Bombay instead of Veggie Zombie. Hey, Exotic Kitty. I'm crazy. Yeah, you're crazy for making all those sweaters. There's a lot of Raiders in here. Have a good night. KB Fibers missed the end. Thank you for the follow, Exotic Kitty. Just got back from our walk. I'm doing okay. Stream was good. Working on a knit cardigan. Yay! Yay for cardigans. We were just talking about cardigans. I don't knit. Thank you for the follow, Crafty Mom. I don't knit. I'm gonna try to learn. Well, I know how to knit. I know the basic knit and purl stitches, but I suck at it. In the new year, I'm gonna try to practice and get better at it. Whoop whoop! Just making a crochet. Oh, a crochet cardigan. Just right up my alley. I've never made one. I'm still looking for a pattern. We were just talking about that. I need to find a men's crochet cardigan pattern. I think we were talking about that in Carrot's stream the other day. That is that I can adjust to my size and also doesn't look like Grandpa smoking a pipe on a rowboat. I don't want a old man fisherman sweater. Gonna be a Christmas gift. It's crowded in here. And who touched your butt? Not me. It was not me. Come to the dark side. Going and lurk. Enjoy your lurk. Yes, we were talking about it with Bob. All right, for those who came in on the raid, let me switch this over real quick. I am the Crafty Cub. Mostly crochet, but like I was saying, we're going to venture into knitting. In the new year, we're going to be cross-stitching. We're going to embroider. What else did I say we were going to do? I'm going to try to learn how to tat either on or off stream. the Traveling Tatter, if you're not familiar with the Traveling Tatter. Let me give her a shout out. Oh, I didn't type shout out. If you're not familiar with her, check her out. She tats. She shuttle tats. So she's kind of inspired me to learn to tat. All right. So who am I? What do I do? I'm the Crafty Cub, mostly crochet. I will be doing other projects, but what I do right now is I stream about 4 to 5 nights a week, and I teach. I show how to do different patterns, different stitches. We are a big fan of granny squares here. Right now we are doing a stackable pumpkin. This is from the YouTube channel Winding Road Crochet. I've got 2 of them, my big and my little, and I'm working on the small one. And we're going to stack them and put in some fake leaves like they have, and it'll be a cute little centerpiece or decoration for the holidays. Not just a specific holiday, but the season, I guess. We do, like I said, we do a lot of granny squares here. On Saturdays, we work on blankets for Project Linus. That is a nonprofit in the U.S. and Canada. They accept brand new, handmade, crocheted, knitted, quilted, etc. A whole bunch of different types of blankets. They have to be handmade, and you can't use materials that are been used. You can use older materials like older yarn or fabric, but you can't use anything that has already been, like, you can't repurpose a t-shirt. You can't use t-shirt yarn because these are going to children from 0 to 18, and don't want anything with allergies and all of that. And if there's odors or again, they're for children for 0 to 18 that are in need, either seriously ill, homeless, traumatized, etc. So it's a really good way of giving back to your local, and they stay locally in your community. So if you have a local chapter of Project Linus, again, they're all over the U.S. and Canada. Definitely check them out. Not to say that other charities are not worthwhile, but that's the one that me and Grammy ETC, and I think there might be some other people who are interested in doing stuff for Project Linus. In addition to that, we do theme months. We just did, in September, we did a woodland theme, so we did a week. We did like 3 or 4 streams of mushroom motifs. Then we did a week of leaves, and we did some leaf appliques. We did a leaf granny square. We even made my very first venture into amigurumi, a cute little acorn. So we did that the other week. And then last week we did woodland animals. So we did a lot of squares and some appliques and that fun stuff. This week we're doing pumpkins. It's not really woodland, but we're getting into fall. Next month we're doing not all, but our themed streams, we're doing Halloween. I think next week is spiders. I still have to make my samples. Most of the stuff that I do, if it's a specific square or a stitch or a pattern like I'm doing tonight, they're not my patterns. I do not claim them to be my own. I always give a link to what I'm doing. So right below, like tonight we're doing the stacked pumpkins, in the description. That is the link for the pattern, and they will come up periodically in the chat. You can also type in a command, which tonight's is !centerpiece, for the links to this pattern. Additionally to that, not that I haven't said enough, Thursdays we do throwback Thursdays. We do vintage patterns. On Thursdays we get out the crochet thread, the real thin thread, and we make this type of stuff. We do a doily. We have done, technically it's a doily, but they basically described it as a coaster that needs to be ironed or whatever. We also do mystery patterns. We've got a book of 100 some crochet edging patterns to put on linens, on tablecloths, handkerchiefs, pillowcases, towels, all that type of stuff. And we've done a bunch of these on stream, and they're mystery. We know what they are, but we don't know exactly which one we do. We pick a edging pattern at random. Like I said, I got a book about 100 of them, and we spin the wheel. It picks the pattern, and then we decipher it. But there's a twist. There is a change starting last week. From now on, going forward, Thursdays we have a permanent host on our vintage patterns. We have a host. Her name is Granny Karen Cakes Merino. And let me see if I can pull up a picture of Granny. Granny's not here today. Let me get you a picture of her. In addition to all of this, all of my streams, as soon as I'm done streaming, they're uploaded to my YouTube channel directly, so you can watch past streams. I also have a Discord. So for those, exclamation YouTube, exclamation Discord for each of those if you want information on either of those resources. We've got a decent little community over in the Discord. We post pics of our whips and our foes, and we ask questions. There's some other information and resources over there. So last Thursday, Granny Karen was on stream, and she made this cute little star doily. It's about 6 inches or so. So you can use it alone, or you can join them together and build stuff. But let me show you a picture of dear Granny Karen Cakes Merino. And there is Granny Karen Cakes Merino. She's in her 90s. She is feisty. She does not play around. So she's fun. She likes to have fun. She likes to joke around. But she doesn't tolerate any shenanigans. So she will be on Thursday. And all Thursdays. Well, anytime we stream on Thursdays. So that is Granny Karen Cakes Merino. Her nickname is Cakes. Karen spelled, and I have to actually type out her name. That is her name. She's got a very interesting family. She talks about her family all the time. And so yeah, if you're interested in any vintage, delicate, lacy type patterns, check her out on Thursdays. She will also be doing some Christmas ornaments in November and December. Okay, I gotta keep up with chat because I was just running my mouth. Carrot said, "Sorry, Veggie Zombie, I moved my hand." Oh, you're the one who touched their butt. Lot Lizard also touched no butt, so I don't know about that. I don't trust you, Lot Lizard. Popeyes. So somebody was having Popeyes. Did I miss that? Do both needle and shuttle tatting. Yes, I've catched your stream before, KB Fibers. I've seen you do some shuttle tatting. Veggie Zombie says, "Well, I shouldn't drink so soon after making jokes." Hey there, Sophie. Again, wait. I thought you were you in here earlier? I can't remember. Happy spoopy season. The links for all of the patterns. She would survive a zombie outbreak. I can see her and her trusty granny purse with a brick inside. Yeah. You don't play around with Granny Karen. So, what I'm working on tonight, like I said, it is a stackable pumpkin centerpiece. I did my large and medium pumpkins earlier. We're working on the smaller one. Again, it is a working on your PC because something, yeah. I hope you can get that fixed with your, you said your graphics card. So we're working on this simple, relatively simple, small pumpkin. I was hope it's not the graphics card or the GPU. So for this small one, we started with 11 chains. Second chain from the hook, we half double crocheted, so we have 10 stitches, and then we're doing back loop half double crochets for 30 rows. And then when we're done with this, which we're getting close to the end, we're going to form this into a pumpkin. Yes, a rectangle will form a pumpkin. Wish I could finish these Christmas sweaters so I can do fun stuff. Oh, I've been there trying to get something that needs to be done out of the way, and you want to get through it so you can do something that's a little more interesting and fun and creative. Alrighty, we also have sound commands. Those are my sound commands. At any time, anybody can type any of those sound commands, and a sound will happen. And some things have backstories to the reason why they're there. Some don't. Some are self-explanatory, like hallelujah or yay or dun dun dun. But those are ones we have used throughout the year. We've added as we've gone along. Some I have to take away. Some aren't really appropriate. So it's a fun little interactive thing. I haven't done channel points yet. I haven't figured out how to do that. I've only been streaming since December, so I'm a relatively new streamer. I'm not brand new. I don't have a lot of bells and whistles. We don't have a lot of noises, tons of noises. We don't have things flashing on the screen. My stream is a little more laid back than other streams. But we do have some fun interactive stuff. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we've got 26. We're on row 27. We have to go to 30. And then we will make this three-dimensional instead of just a flat rectangle. And again, all we're doing is back loop only half double crochet. All the way across. Did I say we did 11 chains? No, we did 21 chains. So we have 20 stitches, not 10. That'll be a much shorter pumpkin. I think my next pumpkins is going to be bigger in red. Nice. Yeah, I know you were doing some little pumpkins, which you had posted on the Discord. Yeah, after we make this, I'm going to have to make the stem. I haven't made the stem yet because the stem goes on the little one because they're stackable. It's kind of hard to stack pumpkins directly on top of each other when there's stems on the bottom ones. Then when we go to piece them together, or stack them together I should say, because we're not going to stitch them together. They're not going to be permanently joined together. I've got some artificial fall leaves and berries that we're just going to stick in. I'm not going to glue them in or sew them in. You can do that, but I'm just going to stick them in between the pumpkins, and possibly, if I can, move the camera so you can see what it looks like. Because right now I have top down and then on my face. It's kind of hard to do it from the side. I don't have my setup for that at the moment. You're working on a small green one. Very, very cool. I mean, the green works because pumpkins, a lot of them start out green when they're growing. And then over time they ripen to oranges or yellows or whatever color. White, they even have white pumpkins, which I don't think they started as green. They probably started as like a pale green and then turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there is 28. We're on 29. So we have this row and one more row. So we're going to be to the stuffing stage soon. We have to do some stitching before we can stuff, but the stuffing is coming up momentarily. So anybody who came in on that raid, or any of you crafters or makers, or I'm so mesmerized by the pumpkins that I forgot I was supposed to be knitting. They are cute, aren't they? Oh, and also, speaking of pumpkins, tomorrow night, we're going to have a longer stream because tomorrow night's pumpkin is a little more involved. We're going to be making this. This is the small version. They have a large version. We're not doing the large version. We're going to do the small version. This is a braided pumpkin. So I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but we've got these braided techniques. Kind of like cabling and knitting. You could have cabling and crochet also. So it's very textured. I'm going to find a yarn that it's going to show off the cabling a little bit better. I think this yarn is, yeah, it's light. You can see the stitches, but you can't really see the cabling as much. Even in person, you can see it, but it's not super defined. I think it's because of the variegation in it. Hey there, Bob. I remember you from Carrot stream. How are you? And I've seen you in a couple other people's stream. Easily distracted. It's very cute. I am Bob. Welcome in. Fancy meeting you here. That's very common here on the makers and crafters side of Twitch, that you will run into people you know in other streams. Like, actually, for instance, I was in the Traveling Tatters stream a little bit yesterday before I went live, and then after I raided, who did we raid out to? We raided out to that Spy Guy, and I know Tatter's in that Spy Guy's channel all the time, so I was in there for a bit, and then I popped over and saw that Kim for the Day was on, and I was chatting in her stream for a little bit, and then Tatter was in Kim's channel, so we all tend to know each other. It's a very supportive community here. I love the community in the makers and crafters space, no matter what you make. It's not just the crocheters. It's the needle artists, the painters, the resin makers, the what else have I seen? Seen some clay. I think there was one, I think the channel's name is Sharp Balloon. She does balloon art. There's all different types of people, and I found a lot of these word of mouth, wood burners and carvers, yes. Let's see, it goes on, you name it. People who draw, like, very, very talented and very, I don't think I've ever experienced any streamers in the makers and crafters space that has been negative. I don't think I've ever had a negative experience, and everybody seemed to be supportive of each other. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. We have done our last row. So I'm going to take out my stitch markers. They were just there to count, to keep track of my rows. I don't need them anymore. We're still attached to our working yarn. And then I will show you what we're going to do for this next step. Once I get all of my stitch markers out of here, it's easier if I take them out this way. Bob wanted to knit my sweater while I watch the pumpkins. Okay, what I could be doing is I could zoom out a little bit more, because this next part isn't really, it's not crocheting. Well, yeah, we're not going to use the crochet hook. I think we're done with the crochet hook for this part. We will use it again for the stem. Okay, I want to leave my loop really long. Okay, you're going to get a long tail. Really long tail. Probably longer than you would probably ever need. And we're going to cut. What we're going to do is I'm going to chain one and pull that long tail through that chain. And doing that chain one, and pulling through will help lock that last stitch into place. I mostly do crochet, Tunisian crochet. I love Tunisian. We've done Tunisian on the stream before. Knitting makes it easier when I find a pattern I like. Doesn't matter as much what it is. I learned to knit last year because I found a pattern I like, forced a sweat. Yes, I might end up being like that too. Is trying to find the right pattern for a craft. Carrots, I'm making this shawl. Can't knit using my feet, so probably not. You can't? Well, I can crochet with my hands and my feet at the same time. I'm joking. If that was the case, I'd be making a lot of things. Alrighty. So we have our rectangle. Again, it's 20 stitches by 30 rows. If you're doing the medium one, it is 30 stitches by 42 rows. And then the big one is 40 stitches by 54 rows. So you would end up having the same thing here, just bigger proportions. Okay. So I'm going to take this long tail that we have here, and I'm going to get my yarn needle, and I'm going to thread my yarn needle, put my hook away because we don't need the hook. We'll just need the hook when we do the stem, which I have to find some brown yarn for our stem. It's kind of cool. My wife and I were in a yarn store, found a couple shawl patterns. Didn't even look to see if they were knit or crochet. Yeah, I've done that similar type thing, like looking patterns online, like Ravelry. I was like, oh, I want to make that. And I click on it, and I go to read it, I'm like, it's knit. I was like, oh. So, if I really want to make it, I need to learn how to do it. Again, I know how to knit and purl, but that's it. It takes me forever to do that many stitches. I need the practice. And I know knit usually takes longer. So what we're going to end up doing is this long side where our yarn came out. We're going to take our yarn needle with our long, long tail, and we're just going to weave in and out of the side stitches, all along the sides of our rows. That's the most you need anyway. Well, yeah, I just need more practice on how to put the stitches together and all that stuff. So what we're going to, like I said, we're just going to be weaving in and out of these rows. You don't have to be perfect and exact. You just want to kind of get somewhat even, because we're going to end up cinching all of this. Hey there, Mama Rita. Hi everyone. Came in with the KB raid, but late. Well, I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Again, I'm the Crafty Cub. Mostly crochet, but I will be doing other crafts in the future, primarily in the new year. I usually teach, like I'm doing today. This is a pattern called it's the Stacked Pumpkin Centerpiece. It is a pattern from from Winding Road Crochet on YouTube. They also have a blog. This is not my pattern, but it is a simple way to do a three-dimensional pumpkin. I don't know if this is exactly amigurumi, but I'm going to call it amigurumi because it's stuffed and it's cute. And I think amigurumi means cute toy, or, yeah, in Japanese, I think. Oh, I know it's Japanese, but I'm going to consider it amigurumi. Like I consider my little acorn I did the other week amigurumi. Convince people who knit are crazy, including me. You take a craft that typically makes smaller stitches than crochet, then use smaller yarn than usual for crochet, so then it takes forever to get anywhere. Seems a bit crazy. Yes. But actually, you can crochet with all different things. Like I said, on Thursdays, Granny Karen.
Thanks for the follow.
Thank you for the follow, Mama Rita. This is crochet. And it's using the thin cotton crochet thread or tatting thread. It's the same thing you tat with. So, crocheting can come in all different forms. Then they even had the big jumbo stuff. Personally, I don't like using yarn anything over a chunky. Chunky's pushing it. A size 5 weight. I like a worsted weight and smaller. I love the real thin, fine stuff, and then I love the worsted. All great friends are here. Amigurumi literally means crochet or knitted stuffed toy. Gotcha. Love this. This is what I learned first. Oh, you learned this stuff first? The smallest yarn I ever used was fingering, and that was for crochet. Yes. Yeah. On Thursdays, we do Throwback Thursdays. We do vintage patterns. We have a new permanent host for our Throwback Thursdays. Let me move this around. Our permanent host on Thursdays, her name is Granny Karen Cakes Moreno. That is Granny. She will teach us different vintage patterns, stuff that she learned when she was a little girl. So check in on Thursdays for Granny Karen. My grandmother made lots of doilies and wall hangings with a crochet thread. Yep. I'm all about the doilies and the edgings, and I am old, so that time my mom made lots of doilies. I like the thing I like about this is when I'm doing any of this type of stuff, even though wasn't around back then, I like to envision myself back then and how like life was or whatever, and like more of a simpler time, even though it probably wasn't a simpler time, but in some aspects it probably was. I mean, we didn't have the internet, but it's just kind of cool. I've even done, and I have a picture of it. Since we're talking about that, let me pull up a picture of a vintage thing that I did. I gotta find where I put it. I think it's in here. Vintage. It's not in that. I can't remember where I put my photo. Maybe it's in Throwback Thursday. I've got oh, where did it go? I made this really large, I think it's in here. This large doily. Yes, here we go. This one here. Oh, come on. Why can't I click on the thing? Okay. This is a large doily. I think it's about 22 inches in diameter. This was a pattern. I actually saw it on the YouTube channel Just Vintage Crochet. Karina does vintage patterns. And she was trying to follow along with this pattern. Give me a second. I'm having a technical issue. She couldn't finish it. She couldn't figure it out. Well, I ended up, it was written, I think, in the 1840s or 1850s. And I was trying to decipher it, and I figured it out. I made the mistake when I was making it, and you can kind of see it here. The center is like an off-white, and the outer couple rows are a bright white, but it still works. So this is a pattern, like I said, from the mid-1800s. I loved making it. It's a big piece, but it's super fun. Oh, and then there's another one that I did. And it's over here to the side. It's too large to show on... Well, I can show the picture, but it's too large to show the actual piece. This one, I think, it was from like the 30s or 40s, the pattern. So I did this. This is my first time doing any pineapple stitching. This motif that's right in here, that's called pineappling. Loved doing this type of stuff. Alrighty, gotta keep up with chat. My grandmother made lots of doilies and wall hangings with the crochet thread. Sold, and my mom made it. Recently made a shawl using fingering, and the first time following a grid to make something. There's a pic in Carrot's Discord. Many of the older patterns are are written a little different than they are now? Yes. Suppose it could be a little difficult to follow at first? Yes. You kind of have to understand the terminology and what they were meaning, and if it's a UK or US pattern, and some of the stitch names that they used weren't necessarily what we use now. So you kind of have to play detective. That's the fun part. First crochet piece I did was a thread tablecloth for my mom. Wow. Oh, I made this, but different border. Yeah. So that's what we do on Thursdays, or at least Granny Karen does on Thursdays. Let me check this real quick here. Alrighty, so back to our pumpkin. So I just did basically a running stitch through the sides of the row on my rows here. So I ended here and did the running stitch through here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull. We're going to cinch this up. We're going to cinch it up. Cinch it up. This is going to be either the top or the bottom of our pumpkin. And now we're going to find our very first, our edge here, and we're going to whip stitch our sides together. I'll try to zoom in to show what we're doing. So we've gathered this up. You don't have to gather it up too much right now. And I'm just going to pull it through. And my tail was probably way too long than I needed, but it's better to have your tail too long than too short. Oh, and that's another thing. If you notice the description, it says 18 plus, home of the dirty hookers. Yes, this is the home of the dirty hookers. An explanation behind that. A few months ago, I was in a crochet Facebook group, and somebody asked, how often do you wash your crochet hooks? And I literally sat here and I was like, what did I just read? I've never washed a crochet hook a day in my life, and I never will, unless it's super grimy, and if it's to that point, then I'm just going to probably throw it away. I never heard of such a thing. So, since I don't wash my crochet hooks, I refer to myself as a dirty hooker. I'm also a fast crocheter, so I'm a fast hooker, and I crochet on the tight side, so I am a tight hooker. So I'm a dirty, fast, tight hooker. And if you're offended by that, I'm sorry, but we are an 18 plus, so we do have some off-color humor here. And since I revealed myself as a dirty hooker, my one mod, Fairy Dust, what they do in their day job, they deal with truckers. I don't know exactly what they do, but they deal with truckers. So they have proclaimed themselves as a lot lizard. So if you're in here and you see somebody refer to somebody as a dirty hooker or a lot lizard, that's what that means. This part of the pumpkin was the hardest for me at attaching the ends. Yeah. Oh, I didn't. Okay, I might have to take some. You know what? We're gonna leave it. I didn't cinch it in all the way, which is fine because we're gonna end up. This is gonna be the center, and I could always do a couple extra stitches to close that up. So I didn't cinch it up as much as I should have, but that's okay. It's going to be hidden too, because it's going to be the bottom or it's going to be under the stem. So I'm not too worried about that. So this can be the little bit of a difficult part, is trying to get it just right, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It becomes so tight it's hard to see the stitches. Yeah, and again, you don't have to be exact. At least with this one, you don't have to be exact. And what we're going to end up doing is once I get up to here and it's all stitched up, I'm going to turn this inside out. So all this whip stitching we're doing is going to be on the inside. You're not going to see it. And I'm not going through every individual. I'm not being super careful of what stitches I go into. I'm just getting it close enough so it's together, and also close enough that the stuffing isn't going to come right out. If you're doing a smaller scale, yeah, you might have to be a little more precise about your stitches if you're doing a smaller one. Yeah, my tail was way too long, but I'd rather have a long tail than a short tail. And there's the link for my YouTube channel if anybody's interested. Again, all of my streams are uploaded to the YouTube channel because Twitch, I'm an affiliate on Twitch. Twitch only keeps it up for a week. I keep it mainly as an archive, so you can go back and watch it. I don't edit anything. I just upload it directly. So you can watch previous streams going all the way back to last December. Last December when I started the stream, we made Christmas ornaments, and they were not crocheted. They were fabric. We did a folded, I think they call it a Scandinavian star ornament. There's no sew. It was all folded and kind of woven into each other. That was fun. Very easy and fun to make. I did a gnome ornament. We're using yarn, but it wasn't crocheted. The gnome was made out of, like I said, yarn, and then I made a little hat. And the hat, super easy, little strips of yarn, and they were looped around in like a overhand knot. I think it's called an overhand knot to form the tassel, but it was looped over a ring of a toilet paper or paper towel tube. So you make a paper towel tube about an inch thick, and then you just wrap a way of wrapping the yarn in there, and you fold it, put it into itself, and tie it together and make a little tassel with it. And it's easier to see it being done than me explaining it. And then we hot glued it onto the yarn that was forming its beard, and we put in a little nose and little extra accents. Cute little ornament. And then we also did a quilted ornament that name is misleading. We weren't actually really quilting, but the look was quilted. Took a styrofoam ball and these little squares of patterned fabric and lots of little straight pins, flathead straight pins, and its way that you position the fabric and they overlap, kind of looks quilted and very almost Victorian, old world almost look to it. So that's what we did. That's how the channel started, was with some Christmas ornaments. And then it morphed into teaching different stitches, basic stitches, and then into small little motifs, especially granny squares. We do love a granny square here on the Crafty Cub. And for anybody who came in on the stream, on the raid, or anybody who is here, period, if anybody was interested in either learning to crochet or have a question about crochet, if you're stumped on something, always feel free to stop me. Whatever I'm doing, say, hey, I'm having an issue with this, or how do you do this, or what about this? I'm always willing to put this aside, get a ball of yarn. There's tons of yarn around. There's tons of hooks laying around. And I can do a little demo, and we can do a little crochet along one-on-one, even though everybody else is watching. And I can help you walk you through the issue you might have. So my channel has a strong focus on education, on teaching. Alrighty, so I've whip stitched up the side. I'm going to leave both the short tail and the long tail because we're going to need the long tail. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it inside out, mainly so you don't see that whip stitching. And when we get here at the top, where these two are joined, I'm going to do a simple little knot. I'm going to do like a square knot, so I'm going to do that, and then we're going to do that just to join it. And before I go any further, I'm going to get my, do I have another yarn needle nearby? Yes, I have plenty. We do love grannies with an affinity for geometry. Fairy dust, wow. So I'm going to get another yarn needle. Check out, and I showed this on stream when I got it months ago. I ordered a bunch of stitch markers from one seller, and then another seller had a tin of yarn needles, and it looks like a little saltine cracker. It's cute. So that's what I put all of my yarn needles in, of all different sizes. I'm just getting another one so I don't have to change my needle. And this short little tail, after we've tied it, I'm just going to weave in my end. Come on. Weave in my ends. Oh, I've stitched over. Hey there, Grammy. Yes, Grammy loves geometry. Alrighty, just gonna weave in my little tail and the ends on the inside so you're not gonna see it. And we're gonna cut our little yarn. Our little scraps. I stole this term from another streamer, Miss Jenks, here on Twitch. She refers to those as schnibbles. So I'm gonna put my schnibble. I save my schnibbles because what I do with my schnibbles, you can stuff things with it, but I'm not going to stuff it. What I do is I keep all of my schnibbles, mostly acrylic. I use cotton, but I keep them separate. And I'm going to separate them into colors. So all my yellow ones, all my red ones, all my green ones. And then I take them and I will open up the fibers with cards, with fiber cards. Fiber processing cards. Open them up, and then plan is to take that fiber and spin it back into yarn, so nothing goes to waste. Probably a pull shark too. Wait, what? I don't know what fairy dust is going on about, but that's usually the case. Alrighty. So now we got a bowl. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing we did at the bottom here, but at this end, at this side, and we're going to do a running stitch all around along this edge. And don't get your pumpkin caught in your strand. I would put schnibbles with some bits so Grammy could have schnibbles and bits. That fairy dust. We got a pool table, but usually just use this buffet table when we have parties. Pinballs, yeah. Grammy was all about pinball. Very much about pinball. And like, the pinball the way it used to be. Now it's all electronic. Like, it's all LED and all different, yeah, no, like mechanical, like the numbers for the score would be a mechanical. Yeah, that's real pinball. I'm sorry. I guess I'm old. Okay, we're just going to be, and I'm going to be doing this somewhat quick. You don't have to get into every row and every stitch, but close enough. And I'm not going to fully cinch it up right now because I have to get my fiber fill, polyfill is a brand name, but the filling, the stuffing, to go in here. So I don't want to close it all the way up just yet. And that's where the running stitch, and again, a running stitch, for those who don't know, you go in and then out, and then you go a little ways, you go in and you go out, you run, you go, and that way it will cinch up pretty good. I gotta find where I started. I lost the beginning. Oh, am I back already here to the beginning? Can't. Yeah, I'm back to the beginning. Alrighty. So it's cinched up a little bit. Just stitching it did that. Let me get my stuffing here. Again, I am new to amigurumi, so my stuffing is not going. My stuffing technique and getting it full is probably not going to be perfect, but we're going to do what we can. So we're going to take our stuffing and we're going to stuff our pumpkin. There's a piece of yarn. Remember playing on a pinball table, a few times when I was younger. The only pinball table I remember by name, Pinbot. Never heard of that one. So I'm going to stuff this. I guess you can stuff it as full and thick as you want. I want this to be thick. I want a thick pumpkin. And actually, the thicker the better, the more shape it's going to have. So I'm just going to push things out to the outside so it's easier for me to stuff. So I can just put stuff into the center. Alrighty. So when you got about what you think is enough, now I'm going to cinch it up. And you could leave it that way and then just sew it closed. But we're going to segment it like this one is. See how it's kind of got lobes and segmented like a pumpkin does? So we're still connected with our tail. We're not going to cut that. We need this to segment. You could use a contrasting. The pumpkin got some backs, so Mix-a-Lot approves. You could use a contrasting yarn to do your ribbing, your segmenting. There's a strand of yarn here. It actually goes up from the center, around, and back in. And you're going to keep doing that all the way around to make these segments. You can use a contrasting yarn if you want. I'm going to stick with the same color yarn. But before I do that, I'm going to pull this, but not too tight my yarn breaks. And we got a little hole here. This will get closed up, but I'm going to help it along. I'm just going to do a couple little stitches. This is the difficult part, is trying to get in there. And I'm just going to sew it shut. And I'll do the same thing on the bottom when we get to the bottom. We're not to the bottom yet. So just a couple little stitches just to sew it up. And then that's the center. We're going to take our yarn needle, push it down through the center, and feel around. And you're going to squash it. Squash it. Ha 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 ha. Pumpkins are a type of squash. Up through the center hole. And I can grab the needle. When I was a kid, the campground my aunt and uncle would take us to, the mechanical pinball machine. We found you could lift up the glass on the scoreboard area and use your finger to move the number for amount of place left. It would give you free plays as long as the number was 1 or above. Yep. The Duggars should have sewn up along. Okay, we're not getting that controversial there. Alrighty. Okay, we've got an ad. Before we go to the ad, I came up through the center, but what I'm going to end up doing is taking a little stitch and come up through the side of one of the little stitches, just so it's through the fabric we've made, because That is going to help it cinch, because a pumpkin usually goes in the center. Like, this is a better example. See the little bottom of the pumpkin? It's concave. So we're gonna do the same type of thing. So when we come back from our ad break, and again, thank you for all that are gonna sit through the ad. When we come back from the ad break, we are going to segment it, and I'm already pulling, and just pulling it, it's making it pucker. Yes, we have a puckered pumpkin. I will be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. Again, thank you all for sitting through that ad. I know the ads are annoying, but it definitely helps my channel a lot. Um, Grammy says tilt for the pinball machines. Osmonds or Baldwins would also work there. They all were well versed in procreation, and the Jacksons. Um, Grammy, just out of curiosity, do you have any fireman inspired quilts? Oh, God. Okay. There are two ways of doing this. Before we finish with this, we can make the stem, and then as we cinch up, put the stem in and stitch it around. What I'm going to do is, you know what? I'm actually going to do that. They recommend doing it that way. Actually, no. No, I'm gonna make the pumpkin, and then afterwards I'm gonna make the stem and stitch it on. So again, you can do it either way. You can make it now and then stuff the end of the stem in there and then sew it on, or I'm gonna do it afterwards. I think I'm gonna do it afterwards. Thank you for the welcome back. Okay, so we've come up from the one side up through into one of our part of the stitches. We didn't go just up through the center hole. And we can, actually that's what we're going to do. We're going to stitch this shut a little bit because my cinching wasn't super tight. But when we do this, when we go to pull this shut, the yarn that's coming up from the bottom, I gotta pull up because I want to have that indentation in there. So I gotta make certain I pull up enough to create that, and then pull it through the stitch. And this takes some dexterity. You gotta hold the stitches and everything and the tension. I'm gonna do it one more time. Again, I am by no means an expert at anything amigurumi, but I figured that this is not too bad. You hate your PC? You're not able to fix it? I'm going to pull this tight. I could have pulled a little tighter. Fairy dust also hates your PC. Alrighty, so I've got a little bit of a dimple on the bottom. And we're going to be making more of that as we go. So now we're going to segment it. So for segmenting this one, well, the middle one and the larger ones, we segmented them into what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Into 8 segments. This one we're only going to do 6 because it's smaller. So we've come up from the bottom, up through the top, and then on the outside, we're going to wrap the yarn kind of tight and come up from the bottom all the way through and try to get the center of your pumpkin. I am just some of the other stuff, the other wires that are on the motherboard might be in the way of the slot I need for the GPU. Fairy dust not yet, but have a few in the planning stages for Project Linus. Did design and make a military themed quilt for a young family member that loves anything with planes or tanks. We'll post pics in the Discord. Thank you very much, Grammy, for posting pictures. Or will be posting pictures. So I'm going to pull up. Again, I've gone around the outside, back up through the center, and when I pull, that's going to create this little segment. And I'm going to go opposite and kind of cut it in half, almost. And that's all you have to do to segment this. So we've got 2 little segments. And each half we're going to do into thirds. So we're going to have a total of 6. So we're going to Put this right about there. And pull in tight, just so we have that defined segment. And when we pull tight, it's going to help pull in the centers. Again, use a yarn that's not going to break easily when you pull it. And now on this side, you're just working across from where you worked. Okay. And now I'm going to segment here. And these pumpkins are a little more on the flatter, squishier side. They're not tall and round. They're more flat. Because these are designed to act like a centerpiece. And if you have 3 of them stacked on top of each other and they're tall, and if they're in the middle of a table, like a dining room table, you're not going to be able to see over them. Alrighty. So that's my last segment. I'm going to pull it up tight, and then I'm going to do a little stitch. I'm just going to go over a little bit. I'm going to go down all the way through. Oh, it's not even in the center. It's kind of the difficult part, is trying to get it in the center, but you can do it by feel. So we've done all of that. And then underneath you can always move your little strands or whatever to align it, but I think I got that pretty much even. And then actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that long tail, because I'm going to use this to stitch on the stem. So I'm going to put that to the side. We're going to make the stem. So we're back to the crochet hook, and I got my brown color. You can use whatever color stem you want. I mean, if you want to make your pumpkins lime green and fuchsia, then there's no stopping you. So for the stem, we're going to do a magic circle. And we're going to do 6 singles into the magic circle. 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to cinch it up a bit and join. So we got our 6, and then you can't see it because it's brown. I totally understand that it's dark and you can't see. So we've got our 6 singles into our circle, and then that's row number 1. We're going to do 4 more rows. Yeah, 4 more rows, and each stitch will get a single. So you're going to make a tube. So I'm going to chain 1. And then each stitch will do a stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. I can't even see it. God, probably because it's dark. Is that what color the stem on a pumpkin is? I always thought it was green and never bothered to ask anyone. I'm red-green colorblind. I see colors that have just have trouble telling them apart. Well, actually, most pumpkins, they're green. But after you pick them and they start to dry, the stem starts to dry, they turn brown. So you're correct on both. Just like any other type of plant or anything. You've seen green, yeah, and some of them if they're still in the process of in the drying process, they'll have green spots and green areas, not spots, green areas and brown areas on them. Any of those earthy tones. So that was round 2. Now I'm going to do round 3, and we're going to go to a total of 5 rounds, and you're just doing a single into each. Never asked before, never heard anyone say. A lot of the stems that I've seen have been like a lighter color, like a tan color. You can find them dark. They come in all different colors, I guess, depending on the species. Actually, I'm not even counting right now. I'm not even doing rounds. I'm just crocheting in a spiral. Not something usually comes up in a conversation. Yeah, I usually don't talk about pumpkin stems that often. You're not going to have that in an everyday conversation. My stem might be a little longer than what they want, but that's fine. It's my stem. Basically, you're just making a little tube. And I'm going to have a little bit of a longer stem. I think that should be good. So, I don't know how well that's showing up on camera. That's a little bit better. I just did 6 stitches into a magic ring, and then a bunch of rows, and each row gets the same amount of stitches. So, there's no increasing or decreasing on it, and that's how you form a tube. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to use that yellow to weave in, or to attach to my pumpkin. So I'm going to pull that through. You can't remember the last time I asked someone what color their pumpkin stem is. Okay. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to weave in both of these ends. I'm actually going to just push this through the center here. And there's no right or wrong way of doing this. You can, if you want, you can stuff. Actually, yeah, I'm going to actually stuff that. I've got a large crochet hook I can use to assist. This isn't going to take much stuffing because it's just a little stem. And I think I'm going to use my double-pointed knitting needle. I don't know how well this is going to work. So I'm just going to get a little bit of this. I'm going to try to attempt to stuff my stem. It's a sentence I've never said in my life. I'm going to stuff my stem. I think I'm going to use a pen cap. I think it's, yeah, that's going to actually work a little bit better, maybe. Come on. Be interesting to observe the reaction from using that as an icebreaker. Yeah. What color is your pumpkin stem? Sound fairy dust. Okay, I've stuffed my stem. And like I said, I'm going to use this long tail that's on my pumpkin to attach it. But so my stuffing doesn't come out, I'm going to use the stem tail and I'm just going to go through and stitch it. They do theirs a little differently. They leave their tail. I don't think they stuff their stem, and they take the tails and put it into their pumpkin, and then when they cinch up their pumpkin, it hides a bit. What color is your stem? That's usually not something you ask until you've known somebody a lot. I would be afraid of the answer, because, yeah. At least on the third date, well, fairy dust, you're a lot lizard, so I don't think there would be like a second or a third date. Lot lizards aren't known to want more than, yeah. Anyway, yes, this is an 18+ stream. We talk about your stem colors. I'm gonna have to make a sound alert. I might have to do one myself. Myself as the sound. Yeah, I'm gonna end up doing that. And for those my followers or anybody who comes in who don't know the backstory, if they type in that command, they'll be like, okay. I'm gonna cut my tails. And I'm ready to attach the stem. So I'm gonna use, again, I haven't cut this off yet. So I'm just gonna go through and, again, this might not be the right way of doing it, but it's the way I'm going to do it, and it's art. And there are no really right or wrong ways. They're just guidelines, but there's no right or wrong way. So I'm going to stitch that there. This is the difficult part because I'm stitching into a valley. And trying to get a hold of it isn't the easiest. So I'm just going to put a stitch through the base of the stem. We're almost to the point of the fun. Well, this is all fun, but the really fun part of adding the leaves. Oh, did I make a knot? Yeah, I made a little bit of a knot. Okay. I assume stitching it on the side would be a wart. Actually, no. No. There. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. I gotta find it. Now that you mention that. Oh, I gotta find the picture. I wasn't prepared. Is it in here? I think it might be in this folder. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to share a picture of me. This is, I don't know how many years ago. I got a pumpkin from Walmart. It was this time of year. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, that is so cool looking. It's so unique. We bought it and already preparing for dealing with me. There's a pic. We brought it home, put it on the front porch, and we nicknamed him Warty. So one year we had a pumpkin. We didn't carve it. It just sat there on the front porch. Oh, wait a minute. I can't. So there is me and Warty. So yes, if you want to have a bunch of growth growing on it, because pumpkins do grow like that, with all the green little bumps and stuff. So, me and my cheesy grin, ignore that. It's more about Warty, not the pumpkin. And you can see the stem here is kind of tannish brown. So Warty eventually became mushy. Oh yeah, it became mushy and rotty. Yeah, his warts rotted. He completely rotted. So yeah, if you want to get really creative and create bumps and stuff, because pumpkins and gourds will do that. Yeah, it looked like it had some type of STI or something. It was covered in warts. Green ones at that. The squirrels were my pumpkins last time. Ate my pumpkins the last time. Yes, they will do that. And speaking of which, there's a YouTube channel, not squirrels, but about pumpkins and animals. There's a YouTube channel I watch periodically. It's called the 10 Acre Wood. They are a farm animal rescue in Canada. And they have a blog, and they put out videos all the time. And they've got all different types of animals: sheep, llama, horses, goats, pigs, ducks, you name it. And one of the things that they do, and they try to do a lot of natural type things for their animals. They don't like to give them too many pharmaceuticals for their health, or they give them pumpkins and melons and that type of thing, because apparently, and I learned it from that channel, that the melons and the pumpkins and the squashes are good as a natural dewormer if they have any type of worms. And it's good, a lot of vitamins and minerals in them too for the animals. I'm a lot lizard and hadn't ever seen a pumpkin with an STD before. Well, now you have. Okay, I'm just weaving in my tail. And again, there might be a right and a wrong way of doing this. Pumpkin is good for cats and dogs. A stool softener, yes. Yes. There's lots of fiber in pumpkins. I mean, it's good for humans too. And belly settler, yes. Okay, I'm just weaving this in a little bit. And now what I'm going to end up doing is we're going to cut this off. But to do it, so I don't have a little tail hanging, even though it's on the bottom, you're not going to see it. I'm going to push it into the side of my pumpkin and come out the actual side of it. A catfish suppository, I imagine, would be good. Okay, so I've gone into the pumpkin and then came out the side. I'm going to pull real tight, and I'm not going to push down too much on the pumpkin. I'm going to pull down more and keep the tension, and then cut it there. I've stitched enough. Cut it there, and then that will go back into the pumpkin, and the end will be hidden inside. So we got a cute little small pumpkin. Let me put my scraps to the side. Oh, let me get my other ones. Let's zoom on out. We're not done yet. So we got our large pumpkin. We've got our middle one. And we got our small. And you can't see it because it's a top-down camera, but I'm going to put it to the side. You could stack them just like this. That would be cute on its own. What I'm going to end up doing, you're going to see it top down, but when I'm done, I'll bring the camera down. We're going to have some camera jittering when we get there. But I'm going to add some decoration. Like in theirs, they've got the leaves and the berries. Well, and I'm not gluing anything. I'm just going to set it on here or stick it into the pumpkin to dress it up. And again, once I'm done doing all of that, I will move the camera angle. So let me get got a bunch of fake leaves. Bunch of fake leaves. There's some green ones. I don't want any of the green ones. Some of these leaves have berries on them. And yes, I have done a lot of floral arranging, not on stream. I would love to figure out how to set up the camera angle so you can see that, because I can't really do it top down. I also have a bag of flowers. I think not necessarily on the orange one, but we got some fall flowers, so I don't want to overdo it. I've got some sunflowers. I don't think the sunflowers will work. Maybe one here or there. And we got some, I think they're supposed to be mums. So we're going to play around with this. You can glue them, you can stitch them, or you can do what I'm doing here. I need to I'm going to move the wire down more because I need to get the wire in there. The wire's not that long. This may or may not work. Again, I'm doing this temporarily. This isn't going to be perfect, but you're going to kind of want to go around the edge if you do this. And I don't have Oh, I do have wire cutters right here. I was prepared. Wow, that's a change. Let's see here. So I don't need all of this. That's going to be too much. So actually, we're going to cut this here. I'm just going to add a few here and there, all the way around. And I'm just sticking it in, treating the pumpkin as like floral foam. This one's got a bigger berry. Not all berries are created the same. Stuffing stems and having big berries. Yes, it's that type of stream. So I'm just trying to go in between the stitches and just plop them in. Again, I'm trying to be more flat. This one's got an acorn. If you that one doesn't have any really wire for it to stitch, to sit in there. I would love to use the acorn because I like acorns. I need some more reds and oranges. Blueberries are different from dingleberries. Fairy dust, you're a dingleberry. Okay. Oh, I really want to use this. Well, you know what? This will still work. It's just going to be sitting in there. It's not going to be that on there that well. I don't want to really use a lot of orange since this pumpkin is orange. And you just put however much you want. Again, you're seeing it top down. So I'm going to put on the next one. And again, I will move the camera. Occasionally they're the same color. My God. Wow. Okay, where is... I'm going to add one of these flowers here. Stick them. However, this is very precarious because nothing is glued or stitched on. I don't think I want your blueberries. Yeah, I'll pass on those muffins. Okay, I added some flowers to the bottom because we're going to add this burgundy color one. I think it'll look good with the between the white or the off-white and the yellow one that we made. That one worked. It just stuck right in there. We're going to add a little sunflower or whatever you want to call this. I'm not even going to trim it because I can just pop it on in if I can get it in between the stitches. Again, you're not going to use any really fine yarn with this. I would definitely go with acrylic or I don't know, cotton. You don't want any. Don't use your fine wool. Yeah, I got to get the camera angle to a position that I can show what I'm doing. Okay, that one's just going to sit there because it's not cooperating with me. Let's see. Here's a bunch of berries. I think we're going to... That's got a long... We don't need the stem to be that long. Problem is, the stitches are so tight. No, I'm not going to use Angora. No. No llama. No. My stitches are so tight I can't get the stem in there. Okay. There we go. I can position it. Again, this is not a floral design stream, but kind of get the idea of what I'm going for. Let me add... This one's got... Can't really see, but it's got the oak leaves. I like oak leaves. And that's just going to sit there. And this one does have an acorn. And I think we might be able to put this one in here. Not that you're going to see all sides of this when I move the camera. In this situation, red heart, yes, red heart would be fantastic. Or, any value yarn. Like Mainstays. That's a Walmart brand. Big Twist. That's a Joann's brand. Alrighty, I think that's good for right now. I might add some more on the top. Okay. I want a contrasting... I don't want anything with yellow in it. I want... This one might be the best. I think, even though it's not growing out of it because maple leaves don't grow. Still want to use something I like unless I'm giving it to someone I don't want to spend any extra on. Well, if you want to use your fine merino wool, there's no stopping you. I don't know if I like the way that's working there. Crochet is not really a good medium to put floral stems in. That's why probably whether they were gluing it or sewing it on. Alrighty, so here's our centerpiece, and you can't see it the way you're supposed to see it, and I'm going to be moving the camera, so bear with me. You're going to see some camera jittery. We're going to have some Blair Witch Project camera work. So hopefully nobody gets seasick. I hate working with Super Saver. Irritates the hell. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Super Saver. I will use it. It doesn't irritate my hands. I don't like how scratchy it can be. Alrighty. I'm trying to minimize the earthquake. And you're probably gonna see the chat and everything. But, oh, I gotta zoom out. Oh, and it's upside down. Okay. So... Sorry for my jerky camera movements. And the lighting isn't helping. There we have. It softens after about 952. I think it's 953 washings. You need one extra washing, fairy dust. So here is our fall stack. And again, my jerky camera movements. This is a webcam, so it's not really meant to move around. I'm trying to go as smooth as possible. So there is our little centerpiece. I think it's cute and adorable. I think I know the perfect spot for that. I bet you do. I would have to like secure all the leaves so they don't fall off. So I'm gonna cover up that so you don't get seasick any more than you already have. And we gotta adjust the angle. I have my setup is a webcam that's clipped onto a metal ruler that sits on the top, one of the top shelves of my desk. There's like shelves above the monitors. And that's weighted down by a weighted Scotch tape dispenser. So that is how I do my top-down stream. Now I gotta reposition everything. You're so stupid. No, you're not stupid. Grammy on top of Cub's head and make a Hawaiian skirt out of fall leaf. Actually, fairy dust, we have Hawaiian skirts. Like, there's some plastic ones, but then there's also some, like, raffia natural type material. Hey there, Knitter Girl. How are you? I'm pretty good. And thank you for coming in on the raid. So what we just did, and you're seeing a top-down version of this. I just showed a side version of this crocheted, and I can't really, well, I could, but things are going to fall. But we're going to attempt. We're going to attempt. If we have a disaster, we have a disaster. This is a crocheted stacked pumpkin centerpiece. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. It's three crocheted pumpkins, different sizes. They're not glued. They're not attached. Everything's just sitting there, and all the floral stuff. So if things fall, things fall. But I'm going to try to... There we go. Wait. Let me zoom out. There we go. I'd probably do a little bit better job with the florals. I just did it real quick. But, pretty cute. Be good for a centerpiece on your table. I would probably remove this sunflower. I don't like the sunflower as much. The other ones I like. Be good for a centerpiece on a table, on a buffet, like a sideboard, on an end table. So just bright and cheery and different. And I did not glue or stitch anything together. So if you did stitch or glue the leaves to the tops of your pumpkins, like to this, you can use toothpicks. Yes, you can use toothpicks or long wooden bamboo skewers. So if you did stitch them or attach them, you can keep them like this. So all of that would be permanently attached. And then they could be separate. And then for storage, might be easier to do it that way. I was watching a video on how to remove the GPU. It said don't forget to plug your HDMI cord into the GPU and not the motherboard. Guess what I was doing? No wonder I wasn't getting a display. I just took apart my GPU for nothing. Okay, Sophie. At least nothing was damaged. At least it wasn't damaged, and you went through all of that and the stress of all of that just to find out it was a simple mistake. No, I've done stuff like that before too. So look at it that way, that nothing's damaged. You just had it plugged in the wrong spot. So it's all good. You found your mistake, and you can go forward. I need to move. I got fake flowers and berries and everything all over here. I need to get it out of the way. And I got wire, which I need from these stems that I need to move so I don't end up impaling myself. I'm just hoping I didn't screw up my GPU while taking it apart. Yeah, anytime I've had to open up my desktop to even clean it, I'm very like, oh, I don't want to touch anything. Oh, like, what am I going to do? What if I touch the wrong thing? But, yeah, I feel you. I understand. Crafty Mom says, pat Sophie on the head. We've all been there. Yes, we all have been there. Okay. Let's move this to the side. So that was our cute little centerpiece. Again, off stream, I will have to make the florals nicer than what they are. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere, but I'm just going to let you all know, tomorrow night we're doing this. We're doing the braided pumpkin. This is from the Crochet Crowd. Let me double check something to see. I got to go to the right. Oh, I didn't. Okay, it's got to go into here. Let me double check to see where this is from. If it's from just the Crochet Crowd, or if this is a Yarnspirations pattern. There is a download for this. Well, for both. Well, not necessarily a download. The one I showed tonight, there is a website that you can go to with all the written instructions. For the braided one that we're doing tomorrow, it's going to open up and I don't want it to play. Okay. For the braided one, okay, that's what it is. For this one that we're doing tomorrow, it is from thecrochetcrowd.com. It's also on Mikey's channel, The Crochet Crowd, on YouTube. There are two versions of this. There's a large one and a small. This is the small. We're going to do the small. This is going to take some time because each row is different. And you work in the round. When you do this, you're going in a round. And then you actually turn and go in the round. Yeah, you're always turning with this. And you get to a certain point, and then you can stuff it. But this is a little more involved than what we did tonight. But it makes this really nice texture. And I still have to find yarn that I'm going to use that is going to show up the texture. I think I'm going to use one of my solid yarns. It's all good. Plus, you've got a lot going on right now. Your brain is on overload. Exactly, Grammy. Sophie, you do have a lot going on. A whole lot going on. Let me move all of my vintage crochet stuff, because we're not doing that. That is for Granny Karen to do on Thursday. I think what we're going to do is work more on our Project Linus blanket. Let me switch scenes. See how quickly I switched scenes? I was prepared for that one. So, and I got to change up some other change up stuff. We're going to disable that. We're going to enable that. Enable it. And enable this. Me and Pregnancy Brain not getting along. Oh, wait, did you... Yes, I finished the pumpkins. Yes. Here's the pumpkin. The little one's done. And then I took... Oh, I got to zoom out. Nothing's glued together. It's all just held in. So I put some florals. I got to do the florals a little bit better. But it's kind of what we have here. Really, really cute. Yeah, I love it too. Let's see. Oh, I need to change. Bear with me 1 second. I got to go into the thing here. I gotta find the website. Where's the website? Where's the website? Here's the website. Copy this. Oh. Let's see if this is going to work. No, it's not. Okay. Well. Okay, I had to do a little updating. Sorry, everybody. Okay. So, I'm going to be working on one of the Project Linus blankets that I have going on. Again, if you're not familiar with Project Linus, it is a non-profit in the U.S. and Canada. They accept handmade, new material, blankets that are crocheted, knitted, quilted, etc. for children 0 to 18 that are in need, either traumatized, severely ill, homeless, etc. So it's a good cause. There's chapters all over the country and all over Canada. You probably have one near you. And if not, I think you can get in contact with their national director to start your own chapter. And if you type in !charity, and it will come up in the stream. that is the website for Project Linus. So you can get more information on them. So it's usually my go-to. It's the project we do on Saturdays. In the state, yes, in the States, certain Joann Fabric locations, not all of them, you'll have to check with your local Joann Fabrics. They have a donation bin where you just go in. It's usually a couple ones that I've been to that had it, it's been right by the front door, and you just drop it in. That's all you got to do. But again, your local chapter might have minimum or size requirements. Like, oh, I got something on. I had a fox on the floor around my feet. I had a little fox. We did that the other week. Hey there, Knots and Stitches. Your local chapters will have different needs and different minimums, so you might want to check with your local chapter. Mine is a minimum of 30 by 30, which that's roughly a baby blanket size. Knitting Christmas gifts. Yay. If anybody is interested, and I mentioned it earlier when I had that raid, when KB Fibers raided me, I have a Discord, ! Discord, and I will pop it up right now. If you want to join the Discord, and if you feel like it and want to share pictures, we have a section over there, a whips and foes section. You can post pictures, and we also have a general one. If there are things that aren't specifically a work in progress or a finished object, if there's something else you want to share, there's other resources on there. We have a YouTubers to watch, which isn't just YouTubers, it's other online creators. I have a channel for Twitch streamers that are interested, and it doesn't have to be crochet. Whatever your craft, whatever your hobby, if you're into stargazing and want to take pictures of stars, that's fine too. That's just something just thought on top of my head. You can post stuff in there. I'll have some, like, I have a channel for useful things like our chat commands or any of our commands that we have. We also have, like, somebody had posted, or I think I posted, things about yarn gauge and yarn size and stitches and symbols and all of that good stuff. I also have a merch store, and thank you, Nightbot, for updating that. I have a merch store. I've got a few items on there. Right now, they're only basically 2 versions of the same design. I'm working on other items. They're all from Teespring, so these are printed items. These are things I have not made. So they're t-shirts. I've got 32-ounce stainless steel water bottles, and I have accessory pouches. And they all, right now, the designs I have say Proud Dirty Hooker, because this is the home of the Dirty Hookers. Again, backstory behind that, if you weren't in here earlier, was in a Facebook group. Somebody asked in the group, how often do you wash your hooks? I've never washed my hook, never heard of such a thing. So this hook is a dirty hook. It's never been washed. So I am proud that it's dirty. So if you are a proud dirty hooker and would like something that advertises that and wouldn't be ashamed of telling others that you're a proud dirty hooker, usually if you're proud you're not ashamed, check out some of the items that I have over there on my Teespring store. Alrighty, so I am doing this blanket. It's called the Summer Lace Blanket. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. If you would like this pattern, it's ! Summer Lace, all one word. It is a round, center out pattern, and you make it whatever size you want. This could be a baby blanket. If you have enough yarn or want to, you can be an adult size blanket. They recommend cotton. I'm not doing cotton. I am using this really thin acrylic yarn. I want to say this is a sport weight or a very thin DK weight. And it's got a repeat that starts in the center here. It's like a 4-row repeat, and you go however long you want. And now I'm working on the other, I call it like the first border. There's like 12 stitches, and 12 rows, and each row is slightly different. And what I'm doing right now is a stitch that I've done with my socks, which I still have to get back to the sock pattern. I have had that whip going on for months. But this stitch is called the herringbone half double. And since I am all about the education, I'll show you how to do a herringbone half double here. It's like a half double, but a slight variant, and it creates a really cool texture. So, just like a half double, you're going to yarn over. You're going to go into the stitch and bring up a loop. You have 3 on the hook. Knots and Stitches says, character just started knitting the semicircular version of the Peace, Love, and Knitting Shawl by Anna Dalvey. Can find it for purchase on Ravelry. Nice. Yeah, one of these days I'm going to get better at knitting, and maybe at some point, if I'm progressed that far, we'll knit a sweater. I haven't even knitted a crochet. Knitted a crochet. Yeah, I haven't done that either. Again, you click the start streaming button and you forget how to speak. I've never even crocheted a sweater. Or shawl. Actually, you said shawl. Take that back. I read sweater, but it was shawl. I have crocheted shawls. Words and... yeah, it's like a disconnect between your brain and your mouth. And I have crocheted shawls. I haven't crocheted a sweater. Yes, learn by doing, yeah. But I'd be okay crocheting a sweater. I just got to find the right sweater for me. Knitting, I got to practice knitting a row back and forth first before I even attempt an actual project, much less a shawl or a sweater. Alrighty. Okay, back. I decided I'm knitting yes. Yeah, you said that you were knitting sweaters for everyone for Christmas. That's ambitious. Where was I? The herringbone half double. The herringbone half double. You're going to yarn over like a half double. Go in and bring up a loop, and you have 3 on the hook. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take that loop you brought up and bring that loop through the first loop, and now you have my yarn splits. Let me try this again. Bring it up, bring it through the first loop, and now you have 2 on the hook. Yarn over through 2. That's a herringbone half double. So yarn over, bring up a loop, 3 on the hook. The one you brought up goes through the first loop. Now 2 on the hook, yarn over through those 2. I love this stitch. It takes some getting used to at first, but it creates a really nice texture to those stitches. And this is the stitch I'm using for my sock whip that I've got going on that I haven't touched in months. And the good thing about this stitch is if you're crocheting socks, sometimes they could be textured on the inside and might not be comfortable. When you do the herringbone half double, the outside is textured, but the other side is smooth. Or something with as much lace work. Yes, I love lace. I mean, this has got a little bit of lace work. I love the lacy stuff, just like we had mentioned or talked about earlier of the crochet thread with the edgings and the doilies and all of that lacy good stuff. Or where's that one doily? This one. This one's real fun. And these are vintage patterns, these doilies and edgings. So this thing, I think the pattern's originally from like the 30s. It's called the spiderweb doily. Gee, I wonder why. Love all of it. We're gonna have another ad, so stick around, and when we come back, we'll be working more on this fun little blanket. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sitting through the ad break again. It greatly helps my channel. I appreciate it. Just working along on this blanket. This row, these rows do take a little bit more time than some of the other rows on this blanket. Oh, you said knitting lace feels different from crochet lace. Oh, of course. Yeah, the stitches are formed differently, so they're going to feel different. Same thing with tatting lace. They're all have a different look and a different feel to them. Again, that's what we're going to attempt to do in the new year. I'm going to attempt to learn how to tat. I'm going to practice knitting more. We're going to do crochet. No, we already do crochet. We're going to do cross stitch. We're going to do some freeform embroidery, like some not necessarily specific crewel embroidery. Crewel embroidery, Crewel. It's a type of yarn, and I think it's a 2-ply yarn, and it's used to do a lot of decorative stitches. So we're going to do that type of thing. Venture into some other embroidery type related crafts. There's a whole wide range in the embroidery and needleworking field. It's just not all embroidery. There's different types of embroidery. There's cross stitch, which is related, and there's black work. There's all different. Even the process feels like an entirely different part of the brain is being used. Oh, I can imagine. I can only imagine. Watching KB Fibers, I think KB Fibers tats, and the Traveling Tatter. It's like inspired me to try to learn how to do that, and just the creations and the really beautiful pieces that you can make. There's also something called, and I think somebody in here mentioned that they shuttle tat and they needle tat. I don't think I've ever seen needle tatting being done. Yeah. And then, I don't know if anybody here on Twitch does it, but I've seen videos of people making bobbin lace. That just boggles my mind. They got many bobbins of their thread, and they got all of them, and they got bobbins in between their fingers, and they're doing all of this and moving them all around and making these beautiful, intricate patterns, and I don't know how you can keep track of all of that. But it's kind of how lace was made traditionally. The scene from Mary Poppins, she tats with an... She does? Oh. I don't know if I remember that scene. Bobbin lace is a gorgeous monster of a whole different breed. Yeah. I've watched some videos. It's like... What? Huh? I don't think I'm going to learn how to bobbin lace. That might be just a little too advanced for me. Oh, and another thing that we're going to do on stream is I'm going to break it out again. I haven't used it in months. I'm going to get out my electric spinning wheels. And we're going to attempt to spin. I'm a very much a novice when it comes to spinning. So none of my stuff is going to be perfect. I am not going to teach how to spin. I might explain kind of what I'm doing, but my streams are definitely not the place if you want to learn how to spin. Okay, how many more sides do I have to do? Oh, one last side. I think when we get... Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. When I get to the end of this side, I think we're going to end. But that'll be a while, because it's going to take some time to go through do all these stitches. So I want to get this round done. And again, I'm doing this round, well, 2 previous rounds, this round, and the next round of this pattern. I've got the herringbone half double, which makes a really pretty, I don't know if you can see that those couple rows. They definitely textured on the front, but the back is super smooth. I saw this pattern had and I was like, ooh, I like that stitch. I like any of the variations of a half double. Half double is my favorite out of the handful of what I call your basic stitches. Like your slips, your singles, your half doubles, your doubles, your triples. The building blocks of all crochet. Come on. But, like I said, this is for Project Linus. I've already made 2 blankets for them. I dropped them off last week. They loved them. They were very appreciative. Grammy ETC also made a few that we dropped off. She made some crochet ones, and that time there was 1 quilt, I think. But she's made crocheted blankets and quilts for them previously. We dropped off a bunch. So currently I have this one for them, and I have 1 other one that's in the works. It's a variation of a fillet crochet, which we've done here on the stream before. Fillet is real fun and pretty easy to pick up. It's not too there are no complex stitches. But maybe on Saturday we will pick up the other one and work on that one. It's in with all my supplies for Project Linus. I've got a couple totes full of yarn that are earmarked mostly for Project Linus. Oh, and the other thing that we do, and we're going to be picking up on Sunday, we put it to the side for the summer, but we're picking it up again on Sunday. We have a year-long project. We have a temperature blanket. It's done in the moss stitch, also known as the linen stitch. I think it's called the granite stitch. We call it the zipper stitch here because the rows, the way the stitches are formed, kind of look like the teeth of a zipper. And that one goes pretty quick. I still have to go back and find the temperatures for the high temperatures for the past couple months here in my area and record them so I know what colors to use. We stopped that back in June because it got a little too hot here to be lugging that around, and it's about halfway done. I know we're going to use a lot of oranges and reds. A lot of oranges and reds because all those summer months. And so when we're done, that one's not going to be donated. That one's going to be for my own use. So I have a visual record of the temperatures throughout the year. I can't get this stitch. I am east coast of the U.S. I'm in the state of Maryland. I'm not too far from Washington, D.C., and not too far from Baltimore, Maryland. Pretty much the center of the state. Alberta, Canada, nice. How is the weather there? I know it's gotten cooler here. This past weekend, we had remnants of a tropical storm that hit North Carolina come through my area, and it rained, and it's been rainy ever since. The tropical storm is going through already, but we're still getting rain, and the temperatures have gone down. Cooler, yeah. I'm all for it. I do not like the hot weather. I love the cool autumn weather. I love the spring. The winter, yeah, to a point. I'm not a summer person. Yeah, you don't get hurricanes. Yeah, not in Alberta. Where I live, we don't really get direct hit because I'm about 2 hours inland from the ocean, but we do get effects from hurricanes, and this was a tropical storm, so it wasn't as bad. I don't think there was really much damage in my area. Nothing major. We had some wind. It wasn't like horrible wind, and we got a lot of rain, which we needed it. Alrighty, okay, I think I need to go up into here. Gotta make sure I go into the right stitch. So that was 3 rows. And I'm going to do my corner here for my 4th row. It's the same as what I was doing. And I got a stitch marker here on the corner. That's just so I can keep track of my rows, because I get confused of like, did I just do 3 rows or 4 rows, or what's the deal with that? Get funnel clouds that don't touch down. We, on occasion, will get a tornado. We're not like in Tornado Alley. We're not like in Kansas, Oklahoma. But they have happened here. We've had, actually, what was it, 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago? We had one come through a very populated area. Did a whole bunch of damage to some houses. A lot of trees went down, and a bunch of businesses were pretty much destroyed. One of them in particular is our favorite Greek restaurant. They were out of business for about 2 years. They ended up getting another location, and they just recently reopened, and I think possibly tomorrow we might go and get some of their food. Live in the southernmost part of Tornado Alley in North Texas. Got a couple people in Texas in here. I know Sophie's in Texas. I think there was somebody else who said they were in Texas. I've got a friend who lives in the Houston area. That's not really Tornado Alley. That's hurricane area. He'll get hurricanes, but that's pretty much a little too far south for traditional Tornado Alley. I mean, you can still get tornadoes. Even tornadoes accompanied with a hurricane. I said I was going to finish that round and we were going to go raid. I kind of get into a rhythm here where I don't want to put the hook down. I mean, we can sit a little bit longer and work on this. I do have to eat here soon. I am pretty not starving, but pretty hungry. Houston sometimes gets tornadoes spawn from Earth. Yep. Same thing with like Florida and the whole southeast. It's very common with a hurricane because of the rotation of the winds and the everything. But yeah, occasionally we'll get them here. I don't think I mean, I could be wrong, but usually we don't get any like large major ones. Like the ones here are usually an F0 or an F1. I don't know if we've ever had one that's been more powerful than those. I messed up that stitch. Let me double check something real quick. They're knitting, they're crocheting. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what that is. Alrighty, let's see. Okay. Back to my blanket. I just had to look at something. I'm thinking about raiding somebody. When we go to raid, does anybody have a preference of what we would raid? There are some people on my favorites. Somebody is cross-stitching. Somebody is, I think they're crocheting. Yeah, they're crocheting. Let's see what else we got. Oh, we got knitting. Yeah, I should do a poll. We're going to do a little poll. If I remember how to do the poll. Channel manage. How do I do a poll? That's not what you do. I've done it before. That's a raid, it's a goal, it's a clip, it's an info. Did they change things around? That's that. I don't need ad manager. Suggestion box. Manager stream. Monetize. It's not what we need. Seriously, did they get... I don't see it. I don't know if they moved it. Anyway, so we're not going to do an official poll because I can't find the poll thingy. Our choices to raid, again, when we get to the end here, we can raid somebody who's cross-stitching, we have somebody who's knitting, and we have somebody who is crocheting. So does anybody have a preference on any of those three? Do we want to stick with crochet like we're doing here? Did we want to go to knitting like we were talking about knitting earlier? Or did we want to go and watch somebody who is cross-stitching? Again, I wish I knew where they put the poll thing because I would have done that. Maybe it's someplace that I'm not looking at. Alrighty, a couple more stitches, and then we're gonna raid. If nobody is going has an opinion on one of those three, we will figure it out. I know what we'll do. We will do something at random. How about that? Oh wait, no. What? I don't know why I slip stitched into there. Ah. I'm gonna finish this corner and start the side, and then I will put this down and we will do our little closing that we usually do here on the stream. Alrighty, so I just I finished off that round and working on the fourth round of this, and then after this there's something different the next round. Alrighty, let's move this over here. Thank you everybody who came into my stream tonight. Again, thank you to KB Fibers for that raid. I really appreciate it. I'll be on again tomorrow. We normally don't stream on Wednesdays, but since I didn't stream on Sunday, everything got moved down. Tomorrow we're going to do our braided pumpkin stitch from the Crochet Crowd, from Mikey over there, the Crochet Crowd. So tune in tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern is when we'll do this. It's going to be a long stream because this is very involved. So if you want to learn how to make this, make another pumpkin, because this is our pumpkin week. We did our pumpkin patch stitch yesterday. We did our stack today. Tomorrow we're doing our braided pumpkin with all the good textures. Check out the Discord. I have a Discord if you would like to join our little community over there. Again, we've got, we share our projects, our whips, our foes. We ask questions. It doesn't have to be just crochet. It could be knitting. It could be quilting. It could be stamp collecting. Whatever your thing is. If you want to take pictures of your vacation, whatever you want to share. It's a cute little channel. It is a cute channel. It's cute. It's a nice little community over there. There's a lot of information and resources. Not only members of the Discord, but links that we have posted into the Discord. So feel free to join that. There is my YouTube channel. Again, as soon as I'm done streaming, the streams get uploaded directly to YouTube unedited. raw, uncut. This is the way you see it, is the way it's going to be there. You can check out previous streams. I don't know how many videos I have over there. A whole lot, going back to last December for almost a year's worth. I also have a merch store. Check out the merch store. We've got two t-shirts, 32-ounce stainless steel water bottles, and 2 little accessory bags. Actually, let me pull that up real quick. And I'm going to show this on screen real quick of what we have over there on the merch store. This is my merch store. So they're all the same design, just there's 2 variations. There's one in the blue and one in the pink. We've got a accessory pouch, comes in 5 different colors that you can choose from. It says Proud Dirty Hooker, and on the back it has my Twitch channel on it. Same thing, but in the pink variation. We have the 32-ounce water bottle. It only comes in stainless steel. And on the back it's got the Twitch address. It's got a straw and a cap. I think Grammy ETC has one, and she said she loves it. It keeps things really cold. And then we have a t-shirt. And again, the same different variations. The colors are slightly different depending on which color you get. The front will say that, and then on the back will say the Crafty Co. I am in the process of designing other designs, so not everybody wants to be a Proud Dirty Hooker. That is fine. So check that out. So what we're going to do is to determine who we're going to raid. I got to get a piece of paper. Not that piece of paper. Since I can't do a poll, and I don't want to get high-tech, we're going to go old school on this. I'm going to get a piece of paper, and I'm going to I don't need that much paper. Divide it into thirds, because we have 3 channels that are possible candidates. And do I have a bowl? I have a yarn bowl. We're going to use the yarn bowl. Of course we have a bowl. That was a weird question for me to ask. Okay. And watch, by the time I get this all done, one of these channels will probably have rated out or have left. So, so on one piece of paper, I'm going to put crochet. Excuse my handwriting. I have chicken scratch handwriting. We have crochet. The other one is knit. And the third one is cross stitch. So I'm going to fold these up. Fold them up real good. I don't know which ones are going to be which, because we're going to fold them up into little folds. Put them in the yarn bowl, and we're going to mix them all up. And we're going to pick one at random. And let me double check to see that they're still... Oh. They still might be streaming. They're streaming. Okay. I think they're all still streaming. So we're going to pick one at random, and that's who we're going to go stream. Or if we're going to go to knit, crochet, or cross stitch. This is our winner. And we are going to go. Who is it? Who is it? We're going to go to crochet. Honestly, I was not rigged. I picked it at random. So we're going to go raid Vintage Sogal. She is a variety crafter and streamer. Right now, she is working on a crochet item. I think that's mosaic crochet. Let me spell her name right. She's working on crochet. She cross stitches. She plays games. She does all different types of things. So, everyone, stick around for the raid. Join her. Show her some love. She's part of Team Moco Loco. So, if you're familiar with the Mocos, she's part of that team. Everybody, like I said, go join her. I will be on again tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Eastern for our braided pumpkin. Hey there, Scorpion Goddess. I know you from Sheepy's stream and a bunch of the other streams. So how are you? And we're going to go raid Vintage. Right now she's showing stuff on stream. I don't know if it's part of her Discord. Or she's shouting out Kim for the Day, who is also part of Moco Loco. So, everybody stick around for the raid. Show her some love. Follow her, even if you can't stick around. Either lurk or just give her a follow. And then, support her. Been good. Been running in this Twitch streets. Yeah, we all have. Alrighty then. I will talk to you all tomorrow night. Everybody have a good evening, and